Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Soft and Tender podcast. My name is Sandra, and I am your host. I am in an empty room, so I do hope that my voice is not echoing and you can hear me fine. So, today is Saturday, right? And this episode was supposed to drop yesterday, Friday, but life happened, and here we are today, Saturday evening, just recording. So let me tell you why this is just happening, and then I'll go into the highlights of my week, and then we will go into what today is going to be about. So what did I say I was going to start with? Yeah, the reason I'm just recording and why this is dropping on a Saturday night instead of a Friday morning. So last week I knew that I was going to have a very eventful, busy week. This week, and in the middle of that I knew I was going to have a free day on Wednesday. So my plan was to record something for you guys on Wednesday, and I had so now, if you do not know, most of my content I just talk straight from my head. There's been maybe one or two episodes. I think this should be the 12th episode. Oh my god, I can't believe we're already here. I mean, who knew? But yeah, so maybe about 3 episodes I've done proper research, because I did not want to pass on false information regarding whatever the subject was. So in other cases, it's just been straight from my knowledge bank that I've been speaking. So on this Wednesday, I did have something I was going to speak about. I had an idea of what I was going to speak about. But then, until I started speaking, I probably wouldn't have known the direction it was actually going to go in. So, but Wednesday didn't go as planned. I had initially planned to just stay home, chill, have a nap, eat, relax, study a little, not do any serious work. So that was my plan, but I also planned to not go into the office. But I ended up going to the office, and yeah, so now I'm going to okay. I don't want to jump the gun. I want to follow it day by day. So that happened on Wednesday, right? And then yesterday was Friday. I had a busy, very busy, very, very busy day yesterday. But I went home earlier than I would usually do. I would usually go home around 10 p.m., but then I went around 8. And the reason for that was so I could record for you guys. And on getting home, I made some notes because I didn't want to forget the salient points I wanted to talk about. Now, keep in mind that what I wanted to speak about yesterday was completely different from what I had wanted to speak about on Wednesday. So, here we are, Friday night. I'm trying to record. I'm in the middle of it, and somehow I figure out that I do not have a flow, and everything is so jam-packed, and I'm losing track of what I'm saying. I'm taking so many detours. I can't find my way back to make the point I initially wanted to make. It had become a mess, and I'd never listened back right. I was still recording while all these thoughts were going through my head. So I ended up deciding that I probably just needed to sleep. I've had a busy week, and I was still going to have a busy morning today, and I needed to be well rested for that and all of that. So I ended up just going to sleep and not recording. So earlier because now this is it's almost 9 p.m. So earlier, after the event I had in the morning, that finished let's say 12. So maybe around 2, I don't know, much later in the day, I decided to start recording, and as soon as I started, I got interrupted back to back. So now here we are. So that's the reason why this is going up so late. So yeah, but then, like I always say, showing up is very important to me. And as much as it had become almost impossible for me to show up this week, I knew I just had to. So yeah, so now to the highlights of my week. So I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a clip going around Instagram, social media of I saw it on Instagram of Bishop T.D. Jakes handing over the baton to his daughter Sarah Jakes Roberts, right? And social media made me believe that he was like retiring from pastoring his church. Let me say social media made me believe, but that was what I perceived when I saw the clip and people's captions and all of that. So I was like, oh my god, like I need to watch this entire scene. I need to watch how the handing over took over. I'm sure he didn't just like randomly just call her up and then in 30 seconds or 60 seconds tell her that she's going to take over. So I need to see and then to watch the entire thing, probably maybe the entire service that led up to that moment. So I didn't really focus too much on the clip, and like I was just not understanding. So on Wednesday, that I was supposed to record this episode, that I went to the office. Like I said, I wasn't supposed to be in the office. So at some point, I started watching it. So now it's titled Loose to Evolve. That's the name, that's the title of that episode of the video on YouTube, and it's on TD Jake's channel. It's about 30 something minutes, roughly 40 minutes. It's a very good watch. I think everybody should watch it. And from there, I ended up watching, one or two sermons of Sarah Jakes Roberts, right? So basically what happened at the handing over was that TD Jakes has a conference. I think he's had the conference for about 30 years. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I did not do my research on this, so I am just assuming. I'm assuming from what I've seen in Instagram captions of both TD Jakes and his family members, his wife and his children and grandchildren. So, and the name of the conference is Woman Thou Art Loosed, right? And I think roughly maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, no, in 2018, his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, started her own, okay, now, 2018 was the first time she would have a conference, right? But she already had this movement going on called Woman Evolve. And if you look at it closely, right, I'm sure that none of them ever imagined that there'll be a moment where this handing over will happen, right? But God knew, and it's so significant, the names of each of their women ministry or woman ministry that they had. So, like Sarah was preaching, right? And the name of this sermon was Take Up That Wall, I believe. Let me check. I wrote it down for you guys because this was important to me and I did not want to give you the wrong information. And I see it's Take the Wall. That was the title of the sermon. And I think that particular sermon is up on her own YouTube channel, not on her daddy's. So in that sermon, she was like, you've been loosed and you need to evolve. And like at that point, she did not know that, the handing over was going to happen. So basically, this year was the last year of the Woman Thou Art Loosed conference. It was coming to an end. But what nobody knew was that he was passing on the grace that he had to have run that conference for 30 plus years to his daughter, who had a similar ministry, which was also for women, and to help women become much better versions of themselves than they already were. And so he's like, woman thou art loosed is not ending, it is just evolving. How does woman evolve? So it was really emotional. I cried and cried and cried. Yeah, it was a lot, and I was so glad that I decided and went through to actually watch it. And yeah, so obviously he still runs his church that has different branches, and he's still lead and senior pastor of the Potter's House Church. So it wasn't like, he was yeah, you guys get the gist. So yesterday, one of the reasons I also went home early, besides the fact that I wanted to speak to you guys, was I had sat through 3 different sermons of Sarah Jakes Roberts, right? And her sermons are not short, right? They're like, I think the least I saw was 47 minutes and a few seconds. So, and most of them were actually over an hour. I think 2 I watched were over an hour, and then there was the one that was 47 minutes. So, roughly 1 hour each. So, I spent 3 hours at a go just listening to her sermons. I'm telling you, I feel like if anybody listens to it, right, they're going to feel how I felt. Like, I didn't want to stop, and I knew that if I didn't stand up and go home, I was going to be there all night, which I didn't want to happen. So, for the longest time, I've been trying to... Okay, now let me backtrack. A couple of years ago, most likely last year or maybe 2020, a friend of mine and I were speaking, and we were talking about how people do not know what they want, and they jump from pastor to pastor, or they're so materialistic about what each person has to offer. Like, they're not with the pastor for how they feel connected to God, or how much that pastor makes them feel connected to God. They're just with that pastor because of what he has to offer. I don't know how to say this without contradicting my words. So, for instance, let's say a person says that, oh, okay, this person does miracles of healing. Oh, I'm going to go to this person. The people that attend his church are rich, so I'm going to listen to his sermons. But then it's not like, you're going there to actually find God. You're going to these different people for material things. And it's not like you're just stuck with one person and you're like, okay, fine. Like, this is my guy, and I'm going to stick with you and, find God. And then if I can't, I'm going to move on. But it's not like I have 100 pastors, and each of them serve their own different purposes because of my materialistic needs, right? And I know a lot of people will say that, oh, you shouldn't have one pastor, which is completely true, because even our pastors listen to other pastors, right? But I feel like you should do it for the right reasons. And there's a way Sarah Jakes would preach to me that my pastor would not, right? Like my pastor here at home. And I have been trying to find another pastor that I have genuinely connected to. And there was a time I actually thought that person was Mike Todd. Most of us know Mike Todd, right? He's the pastor of Transformation Church. He's an Instagram pastor. And for a long time, his sermons were always hitting. Don't let me say his sermons, because let me say the clips, short clips of his sermons would hit the spot, and I'm like, yes. But then on watching his sermons, I just wasn't feeling it. It was just there, was bland. It wasn't edifying me. And that's not to say that he's a false pastor or anything like that. He's just not the pastor for me in this moment of my life. Maybe tomorrow his messages could, be speaking to me. But I knew that what I could be getting from God, I was not, it just wasn't working for me. So I let it go and just talk to my home pastor, because why not? And then listening to Sarah Jakes, I've just felt so much connection, so much inspiration. What I was recording yesterday was based like 90% on the few sermons I've listened to, and like it's hot, man. It's hot. But that does not mean it's going to be hot for you. That does not mean that it's going to edify you the way it's edifying me. So another thing is, like, I don't think anybody should follow the crowd when it comes to the men of God or women of God in this case that they follow. I think you should know that you're doing it for the right reasons and be honest with yourself. Do it for the right reasons. Because now, obviously, after many people have watched that clip, right, many people are going to go on to follow her, to listen to her messages like I've done. But not many people, or let me say, not everybody is going to actually feel a connection with her word. Like, I was watching a sermon of hers today, and she was at a church. I don't remember the name of the church. She was a guest minister, and those people were just not feeling it. Like, it was like she was talking to the wrong crowd, and she kept on trying to pass her point. Like, her point was hitting me in my chest. I was like, yes, Lord, you're speaking to me. I mean, like, this is what I've needed for such a time as this. And then the audience, they were just like, there. So it's very possible that a very anointed minister may not be the one that has been sent to you in that moment of your life, which is understandable. So that happened, and it's just such a beautiful thing for me, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I did not procrastinate going to watch the entire service that led up to that moment on YouTube, and I did it as soon as I was able to. So I thank God for that. So what else happened this week? I had a very busy week. So last week I shared my love for music with you guys, and sang my heart out, and I'm sure you guys enjoyed it and you guys danced. So another thing I want to introduce to this podcast is, like, giving you guys my song of the week, and whether it's a secular song or a gospel song, whatever type of song it is, I'm going to share with you. So for this week, I didn't have a particular one, right? But after recording last week, I went to listen to a playlist that a friend of mine made. I don't know if that playlist was made for me, but then it was shared with me, so I have it, right? And on that playlist there was this song. So I didn't even realize that in that moment the playlist had been recently updated, because I hadn't like checked on it in a long while. And that playlist also has helped me through some tough times. So the name of the song, that one of the songs that were on it that I didn't know was on it, and I probably hadn't heard before, was Too Good to Not Believe. So I think I listened to that on Monday, Tuesday on repeat. I've actually even forgotten how it goes. Too good to not believe. I think something like that, right? It was Bethel Music featuring Brandon somebody and somebody. I think his wife, I don't know. They have the same surname, but I don't know if they're siblings or they're a couple. So what other song? Then there was this song, No Longer Slaves. No longer slaves, I am a child of God. I don't remember the circumstances that led to me hearing that song, but yeah, I listened to that for a while too this week. And then not yesterday. Oh yeah, right, guys. Before I forget, yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? I don't know if it was 29th or 30th of September. That's either Thursday or Friday, was World International Podcasters Day. And I just want to say a very huge thank you to you, my beautiful and amazing listeners. Another thing was that this week we hit 300 total plays. I told you guys that I wanted to hit that before October came around, and you guys made that possible. And I'm so grateful to you, and I am so grateful to God for you. And I would not be a podcaster if I had no listeners. So thank you for making me worthy, I would say, of celebrating International Podcasters Day. And also shout out to Honest Itunu on Instagram. Itunu and I went to secondary school together, right? She was actually my first friend when I entered secondary school. So, but Itunu is a podcaster, and she gave me a shout out on her podcast. I actually haven't listened to the podcast, to be honest, but she posted a clip on Instagram on her story, and then I saw it and I was like emotional. The time I saw it, I was like so engrossed in work actually, so that's why I didn't get around to listening immediately. But I'll definitely do that if I go to bed today. So shout out to you to know. The name of her podcast is Talk Time with Lompe. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it is, the spelling is Talk Time with then Lonpe, Lompe, I think. I don't know. Forgive me if I botched the pronunciation of your name. But thank you for the shout out. Itunu is a great podcaster. I have listened to her content. She has over 70 episodes, I think about 62 countries, and I think she's been podcasting since 2020, so she's a pro in the game. Yeah. So, and if any of you listening is here because you heard my name on Itunu's podcast, thank you for stopping by. I do hope that you stick around. So what was I saying before I detoured? I think I was talking about this morning, right? So the song I was listening to this morning was The Land is Green. So like what made me take the detour was because I was going to mention that today's also is worthy of note to mention that today is October 1st, 2022, a new month. Guys, can you believe it? Like we're in the 10th month already, like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October already. Whew, God has been so amazing, and I couldn't be more grateful. But yeah, and then today is also Nigerians Independence Day, so happy birthday to my beautiful country. I still have a lot of hope in Nigeria, no matter what anybody says, and I know that God is not going to forsake his own, and there are still so many people that are praying and still wishing for the best for Nigeria, and God is definitely going to answer them. It may not be when we want it to happen, but I know for certain that it is going to happen, and I think that is all that matters. So yeah, so I was listening to The Land is Green by T.Y. Bello, because, I was thinking of the Nigerian flag, which is green, white, green. So, and I remember how I used to think that whoever sang that song was T.Y. Bello, by the way. But then when I was younger, I used to think that whoever sang that song sang it to celebrate Nigeria. So today I opened Apple Music, played it, and checked the lyrics and saw that this was actually just not an anyhow song, and it actually had proper meaning, and it was not a song to celebrate Nigeria. I don't remember the exact lyrics, but it goes something like, "The land is green, can't you see?" So basically, she's in the song, she's saying how, obviously Greenland means like the land is fertile and fruitful. Yeah, so, and how that her land is green. Basically, you can say that, her life is filled, with fertility, is prosperous, and that, it's harvest time. And the Lord of the harvest has told her so, which is obviously God. And it just, made this new, it gave me more insight to, what the message the song was passing across. It was more than just, me thinking as a child that it was an Independence Day song, right? So, yeah, that's basically how my week has been. And then last week, I think I was telling you guys how I started the beginning of the week with my emotions so scattered, and like I didn't know how I felt. I was just feeling so all over. One of the reasons was on Monday last week, not this week that just finished though, last week, the second to the last week of September, right? I had, now if you've been listening since the beginning, since I started this podcast, you would know there's a particular scenario that I always narrate, right? Of how somebody hurt me, or how I was trying to communicate with somebody and got no response. Anyway, so I got around to actually calling up that person, reaching out and letting that person know that I forgive them. This was very important to me. I had felt that way, like that I needed to do that for like over a month before I ended up doing it. But I just wanted, why it took so long was I just wanted to just know in my heart that forgiving this person does not even need to know. Besides, this person does not even think they deserve forgiveness. They don't think they did anything wrong. So why should I have to call them up and let them know that, oh, I've forgiven you? But I realized that until I said those words to that person, I was actually not going to forgive them. And I have been battling with the fact that if I want my Father in heaven to forgive me, I just have to forgive. And I feel like that caused a blockage between God and I, because I could not communicate with my full chest, because I knew that, I had not forgiven somebody. But then every time I'll be like, oh, Father, I confess my sins of commission, omission, of prayerlessness, everything, and I'll confess my sins and then ask for forgiveness, right? But I'm asking for forgiveness, but then I'm not forgiving somebody. He was like, what you doing, girl? Like, you're contradicting yourself, baby girl. So I knew it was something I had to do. And it took me that long because I needed to feel it. I needed to let go of the bitterness. I needed to understand that we're actually just humans. I needed to take responsibility for what happened as well. Like, it wasn't just one person's fault. There was more than one person involved. So I had to take responsibility, be brutally honest with myself, and realize the actions I did that led me to feeling such a way. And I realized that it was because I let my guard down completely, like 100%. This episode is going to be long because now, you know how I said earlier that most of the things I say like come straight from my head. So what happens is when I start talking, right, sometimes I may have like points written down I want to talk about. Other times I just have the points floating in my head, right? And then God just ministers to me, and it's like, when pastors are preaching, right? Like, and then they have their notes written down, their bullet points written down, and they're going to, and then in the middle of it, they're telling you like, bro, this is not what I wrote down, this is not what I prayed about, but I'm just going to let the Spirit flow. So that's what happens with me most times, right? I just let the Holy Spirit talk through me. So I know that anything that I say is not like a mistake. I know that I'm not oversharing. I know that I'm not undersharing. I know that I am doing just enough. And when situations happen, when I'm not able to record, when it comes to certain topics, I know for sure that that particular thing was not ready to go out, and maybe I am not prepared enough to share such, information or such message or whatever you want to call it. So, right. So that's why I'm saying this episode is going to be long, because we're like 30 minutes in and I feel like I am just getting started. So, I felt, I was saying, like, what brought up this story was me mentioning how my emotions, how I was talking last week about how my emotions were such a mess, and how, I felt a blockage communicating with God because I had not forgiven, and I was expecting God to forgive me. Because the truth is, no matter how much we want to say that we don't sin, like, bro, we do. I mean, even when you don't realize it. That's why when you confess your sins, like in my church, right, we have a prayer book. So, the way we start our prayer, any prayer we want to pray in my church, the way we start is, Father, I confess my sins. I confess my sins of commission and omission and any other thing. Like, it usually goes prayerlessness, intemperance, obedience, spiritual slothfulness, lying, sexual immorality in thought, word, and deed, sins of our fathers, forefathers of greed, more than wickedness. We ask for mercy, we clean the blood of Jesus. Yeah, like that. So, the point I was trying to bring out by saying all of that was the point where I would pray and confess my sins of commission and omission. So, like, commission is like doing that I've actually sinned. Omission is like sometimes you actually don't know that what you've, like, to your human spirit and to people around you, what you've done is not wrong. But then before God, like, bro, that's wrong, girl. Like, backtrack and yeah. So, and then sometimes I know some, like, when people say they tell you white lies, like, it's still a lie. Like, you may call it white or purple or blue or green or yellow, but it's still a lie. You can even call it black, red, whatever, devil lie. It is still a lie, right? Like, so, but because we don't realize, like, we've even given it the name white lie, because white stands for purity. So of course the lie you're telling is like, it's not a lie, but then, like, it's, I don't know, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, even white lies that we probably don't even regard as, and lying is sin, right? So when we tell white lies, we're calling it white lies because we don't really think it's sin, and we don't really think that we've offended anybody. That's where the prayer for confessing your sins of omission comes in, right? And then maybe not doing what you were supposed to do is also a sin of omission. So praying all of that and, like, not forgiving somebody else's yeah, so I knew that it was, so that would have actually been omission, because, like, I didn't think it was necessary that I had to communicate. Anyway, I communicated, but one thing, I just had to be me. I don't know if that was petty or not. You tell me. But then, so now the agreement I had with this person was, I was going to take out time to heal, and basically, I think this person was polite by saying, take out all the time you need to heal, and then when you're ready, let me know, and then I'll reach out to you again, right? I think that was just being polite. But I feel the way I interpreted it, and the way I think that if I told somebody that, what I would actually mean would be like, take time out. Don't text me until you feel better, and, like, I just can't deal with all your emotions going round and round and round and round about. So I I forgive this person, but I definitely did not want to go back to the way we were. Like, I didn't want to get over myself. Like, I felt this person was insinuating by saying I should take my time to heal. So I was like, I felt this way, right? And I just want to let you know that I forgive you. Like, I really thought about it, and I realized that, I said a lot of things, and at the end I was like, but I don't want to, like, I'm not calling you right now to let you know that I've healed and I want to go back to the way we were, or, like, I'm ready to continue as nothing happened. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be your acquaintance. Like, it's chilled if we have each other's numbers, just for the sake of having entertainment on WhatsApp stuff. I didn't go that far, but I was thinking it. I didn't say that much, but I was thinking it. And that, so yeah, like, that's all I want. That I'm not doing this whole, like, letting myself down for you and everything. But, and okay, so now when that happened, on Thursday, I caught up with an old friend, and my sister and I, three of us were in the room together, and we're just, talking and catching up. Also, him and I. And I was explaining that, okay, so he was saying something about how women, ladies, girls should not give their 100% to a man that they're not 100% committed to. Like in situationships, you don't give your 100% to a man. In when a man is winning you, or when you shoot your shots. There's even a whole conversation we had about shooting your shots, but that's talk for another day, right? And he was saying, we said a lot of things. I'll be making reference to many different things we said in the coming weeks as, the situation permits or as it relates to it. So, and I felt like, I completely agreed, because I realized that was the mistake I made. And with this person, I had to forgive. And that was why I felt so hurt, because if I didn't give my all, if I didn't break down my wall and let go, I wouldn't have been hurt that bad. If I still had my wall halfway high, I would have still taken the blow with my full chest and probably not even have gotten as offended as I did. So, but then Sarah Chicks Roberts was okay. Now, before Sarah writes, I saw this quote that said, I wrote it down and I'm trying to find it. It says, I feel like to heal, you have to feel everything and not hide your emotion. No, that's not it. I can't find it. Maybe I didn't write it down. But it was about, how when you want to feel, when you need to let your everything down, your walls, your emotions down, and you need to feel everything as they come, because that's actually what is going to mold you. Because now in situations where you've not let your wall down totally when dealing with people, right? I'm not saying you should let people hurt you anyhow. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like as time goes on, when you hurt, you use those stones that have been thrown at you, and you don't use it to build walls, right? But then you use it to build a house, right? So instead of building walls around you, you're building a resting place for yourself. So what I'm trying to say is it gives you wisdom. You learn from it. So you know what to do and what not to do next time. You know that if somebody else does this is how you're going to take it. It's not going to hurt as bad anymore. It's not because you're protecting yourself from everybody, which is what I've done for a long time, which was why this person's actions hurt me as bad as they did, because I had this wall up for so long, and then suddenly I just brought it down, boom. The wall of Jericho, how it just came crumbling down. That was how my walls crumbled, so I could connect with this person, and then it ended up in the mud. Anyway, I hope I've not lost track of the message I'm trying to pass across. Okay, right. So I was talking about letting your all. And Sarah Jix Roberts was in one of her messages, I don't know which one exactly, she was saying that you can't keep building walls and then going through the walls. You have to shatter those walls. You just have to feel everything as they come. And I'm not in any situationship or anything, but then it just made me realize that letting myself go was not wrong. I may have done it so suddenly, because everything is actually such a process. You should take your time out to do things, and you can't just go from 0 to 100 just like that. It has to be a gradual process. So yeah, I'm open now to friendship, to love as they come. I know some of my friends know that I am so opposed to making new friends. Okay, we've met, nice, cool, okay, hi, bye. I don't want to be anything more than that. I don't even want to be acquainted with you. If we have to do something in the moment, okay, good, bye. But life is funny, life is funny. But yeah, I don't want to dwell on that too much. So that was part of the things that made my emotions, feel a certain way. And then that same Monday, I had, I'm sure like those voice notes I sent were like 30 minutes plus. I'm sure that by the time we add everything together, it's like 30 minutes. Oh my god. If you're my friend, right, and I send voice notes to you, you probably know the format in which I send them. So you can just imagine how long, it will be when you add them all up together. And it was very, very, very hard for me to do so because I had to be communicating. At one point, I felt I started using my podcast voice because my sister says I have a different voice when recording as opposed to, when I'm not recording. I feel like the voice you guys heard last week when I was talking about music was the voice any random person will hear that was close to me, right? Like my friends and stuff. And when I was recording this voice note, at some point I felt that I was using my podcast voice because my brother came into the room I was talking and he was like, "Oh, I thought it was a stranger here because like your voice is different." So I felt a kind of way, but then I felt like that was the only way I would have been able to communicate how I felt without breaking down, right? So that also puts me, because I was doing something that I necessarily did not want to do, did not think I needed to do, but felt was necessary to do to move forward. Like to move forward and be happy about moving forward, not like moving forward and then feeling grumpy or thinking about it later. So that also puts me in a weird spot because I'm like, if the fear I had of sending these things before and like delaying it up till now comes to pass, then like I'm going to regret doing this. So, and then I'm like, I don't know how this person is going to respond to all of this. So like, it was a lot, but God is good. So on Friday, I don't know what day I recorded that episode for you guys. I believe it was Friday. I think the episode went up on Friday. On Friday, I got some sort of reassurance and I felt amazingly good. I felt like regardless of everything, I should never forget to choose me first, right? And that was the emotion that I was talking about last week that I didn't tell you guys. And I told you that I was feeling better, but then I did not say the name of the emotion. So that's what this whole story I've said, though. That's what it has been. To tell you people that the emotion I felt that I did not tell you last week was reassurance. So that was a very beautiful moment in my soul, right? So, and yeah, so moving on to actually what I wanted to talk about today. The reason I'm laughing is because like we're almost an hour in and I'm actually just about to start what I wanted to say to you guys. So there were some random, I don't know if anybody else is like me, but I know, a good number of you probably do this as well. When you see quotes that resonate with you, you take a screenshot and then you probably sit in your gallery for an endless amount of time. I'm going to take a detour, right? So as I'm speaking to you, I'm doing a lot of hand gesturing. And I actually just cannot wait until I can get a camera and set this thing up so you guys can see me and see the passion on my face as I'm speaking to you. I can't wait for that, and then see all my hand gestures. And yeah. Okay, so now back to what I was saying. So the quotes, right? So I wrote a couple down that I'm going to be talking about. There are so many I have. Like the episode I actually wanted to record on Wednesday is called Connection. That's what I plan to name it. I don't even know what I'm going to name this one. But yeah, that's what I plan to name that one. So there are a lot of quotes that I have screenshots of that relates to that. So I will not be talking about those then. Now I'll just wait till whenever I get to record that episode. Maybe next week. I don't know. God knows when. So the first one I wrote here is, every day I try to remember that the life I have now was something I prayed for. Even with all the challenges and confusion I asked to get this far, I wished for all of this. And that could not just hit me more than it did, because honestly, when we ask God for stuff, right? When we're asking God that we want to move forward with life. I was about to take a detour, but I'm going to finish this thought, take the detour, and then get back to this. So when we ask God for stuff, right, we don't really realize that every stage of our life comes with challenges. We're just, oh, God, please, I want this, I want this, I want this. Not realizing that the higher you go and the more you receive, the more your challenges increase. Like, the higher your challenges become, the tougher your, got in the proper vocabulary, the tougher your challenges become. And many people don't realize, and then when they get into that moment, they're so focused and so sad and so distraught by the challenge they're having to face, they completely forget that they're actually living in the moment that they prayed for. And that's what this is saying. And it just made me feel so grateful to God, because I do know I have prayed and fasted and cried for this moment that I'm living in. And because of all the challenges, the tears, the confusion that is coming with it, I feel like, God, you've not answered my prayers, but I'm actually living inside and living in the moment of an answered prayer. So yeah, shout out to you, God. You definitely come through, right? So you all need to understand that when you pray for things, don't expect it to just come. The devil is going to try and fight that, and it's going to try and fight that you do not enjoy that thing. So you need to fight back. Let the devil know that I prayed for this and I knew you were going to attack me more, but I was ready for you because I serve a living God and he's my shield and protector, and you are going to lose, devil. So now the detour that I wanted to take was, I also have been seeing a lot of quotes relating to how God uses broken people the most. Like, even in the Bible, even David was a man after God's own heart, bro, God's own heart, right? And he still fucked up. He messed up. He committed murder and adultery. Like, I mean, that was the only person in the Bible that God called, a man after his own heart. So, like, the Bible is just filled with broken people. And, like, it also hit me when I was, like, hearing Sarah Jakes Roberts talk. So broken, but, like, she's such a tool for Christ. Because at the end of the day, how does anybody want to preach to you that will be so convincing if they do not have a story to let you know that, see, I'm probably more broken than you are, and I've made it through. And because I've made it through, God has been on my side. You can also make it through. So, yeah. So now back to our quotes. That was just by the way, right? And that one here is, I just don't play about me anymore. Keep it real or keep your distance. And that's the honest truth. Like, I'm giving anybody as it is, as I feel. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to be rude about it. And I'm not going to be, I will try to not be petty about it. It's inbuilt, but yeah. And I would try, sometimes honesty, you don't have to say honesty in the moment. You don't have to be honest in the moment. So yeah. Then another quote is, still love you, just don't want you nowhere near me. The guy I was talking about, that I spoke to and, like, had to call up and say, oh, I forgive you. This is how I felt. Like, I still feel so much love for them. So much love. Honestly, we could actually go back to the way we were, but then, I mean, if you didn't even you're refusing to acknowledge the fact that you've caused me some hurts, you don't deserve to be in my life. Just keep your distance. I love you, but stay where you are, bro. Then another one is, this year I met the most broken version of me, but also the strongest. I don't even think it's like this year 2022 alone. I think it's been like since 2021 up until now. So in the last year and a half, God is good. Full stop. Then another one is, you have to play the game and throw away the shame. Even if you ever throw... No. It is, you have to play the game and throw away the shame. You just have to own up to it. Like, you can't... That speaks for itself. You know what to do. And then another one is, if you ever threw my insecurity in my face or something traumatic, oh, God help me. that I've overcome, you're no longer welcome in my life. This is something I'm going to speak about in another episode. Let me start now. So yeah, I mean, what if this person that has thrown your insecurity or your trauma in your face is actually your family member? How do you throw such a person away? It's a lot. So, and then the last one was what I previously mentioned, that, which is, I feel like to heal, you have to feel everything and not hide your emotions. So the process of getting to a place where I could forgive somebody had to deal with me being completely honest with myself, me breaking down my walls and being able to speak to myself. Because sometimes we even put up walls between ourselves, inside ourselves. And communicating with ourselves and being honest with ourselves becomes so much difficult, which is honestly unnecessary. So we're 50 minutes in. I think this is the longest episode I've ever recorded. And it is almost 20 minutes to 10 p.m. So I need to start heading home. So I'm going to end this podcast here today. I am so grateful you have listened this far. I am so happy. And before I forget, I said I wanted to do, start thanking God for 3 random things. So today I'm going to thank God for my friends. I was going through my gallery today and I saw Babs, I saw Zumi, I saw Nicole, and I just felt so grateful to have them in my life. And then I saw some other people too. I saw Great, I saw Timothy, Osazem, I saw Sandra. Some of these people are no longer in my life, but in that moment, looking at those pictures and videos, I felt eternally grateful that they were there in that moment, right? And that I had that much fun with them. I also want to thank God for my pen. So when I was coming to record, I actually forgot it. And then I started because I came to a completely different area to record. And I like to have a pen when I'm recording in case I remember something, in case I want to take a detour, but I don't want to stop what I'm saying. So I need to have a pen so I can write it down and then, come back and take the detour. So, or if I feel I'm going to lose my train of thoughts because I've taken a detour, I like to note stuff down. So, I forgot my pen and then I was in a frenzy and was confused and got agitated. So, but then I had to go back to get my pen. So, thank God for my pen. And I thank God for internet. Without internet, I would not have you guys to talk to. And I think, that's three. Okay, my friends, my pen, and the internet. Thank God for those 3 things. So make sure you do so too. Like I said, 3 random things. You don't have to think too deep. Just look around you. Think of what has serviced you the most. Like I said, don't think too deep. I didn't say don't think at all. So yes, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I can't wait to have you next week. And thank you for listening all the way. I love you so much. And you guys, I want to hit 500 please before October ends. So how you're gonna do it, I don't know, but keep sharing and keep letting your family members know. Oh, shout out to Pringy. Pringy told me that when he listens, I think he said he makes his siblings listen as well, and then they all sit down and discuss it, and then he also listens on different platforms. So shout out to you, Pringy. I was supposed to give Pringy a shout out last week, but I completely forgot. So shout out to you, Pringy, for that. It means a lot to me. So you guys follow Pringy's footsteps. Listen on different platforms. Make your siblings, your family members, your parents, whoever it is, make them listen and make them become a fan. And then you guys should sit in your living room and discuss it. So yes. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. I love and appreciate you. Thank you for sharing, for giving me 5-star reviews, because why not? And I'm so grateful to you, and I am so grateful to God for you. I hope you have a blessed week ahead. And to my Nigerians, my fellow Nigerians, shout out to us because there's no work on Monday because there's a public holiday. So I am planning how my sleep is going to be. Oh, and next week Friday, I finally resume going back to Friday church. So I cannot wait for that as well. So yeah. Thank you guys and see you next week. Bye.